Good afternoon, Ms. Nuno. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for your time. I know you're busy lately. I am here to provide you feedback on the latest observation that you allowed me to come in. So first of all, thank you for your time. I know these last weeks have been nothing but assessments and your schedule has been already agitated. So moving on, I'm gonna start with the praise and I will share my notes with you as long as we cover them, and then as soon as we're done, I'll give you a copy of it. So first things first, you started your small groups lesson with an icebreaker, which takes care of the SEL support that we've been implementing. So I want to say kudos to that for bringing that in. It didn't take you very long, but you were able to check on each one of your students at the table, and they were like really looking forward to share that little experience from the day or the weekend before. So thanks for doing that. And then you quickly move into the objective for the small group support. So you mentioned that within the small group support that we're going to focus on working with 2-syllable words, also working on some comprehension strategies. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay, so as the lesson proceed, you had students working kind of like sharing ideas of how do we normally approach reading, starting with like picture walks. You were able to kind of walk them through the process of, as they were doing the picture walk, they were also making inferences based on pictures, based on some words that you saw here and there. So that was also setting the tone for what the students were about to start reading. Additionally, you gave the intention of the author's purpose, like before even reading the title or anything, just by me telling you this is a fiction story with humorous, I think you mentioned, with a joke format, what is the intention of an author? And then you went into the board and you provided some visual support to say, hey, remember when we start reading, there might be different intentions, but today's purpose is to be funny. So the kids had a purpose for reading. Also, before you started on the story, you provided them with 3 words. That's where I wanted to kind of check on you. Would those words align with the story? Because I only got to see a portion of it. Or is that just vocabulary words that you've seen continuously with them like having trouble with?
Those are words that we've reviewed previously, story, so they're review words.
Okay, so normal, that's kind of like your warm-up vocabulary. Okay, perfect. So that was also something that I wanted to praise you on, because I could see the students have a systematic way of like decoding, like breaking them into syllables, identifying those patterns when they spell. Because when they do that on their own, they are carrying those tools with them, regardless of whatever class they jump into. And I can see that as actually something that they are already putting in place. So there. So then moving on, I'm gonna go into the specific feedback based on the observation. So you had all the resources available. You had the students, and I think this is a copy that you gave me. This is the story that they were able to work with, right? You provided, again, picture walk, you look at the text features, you provided the purpose for, and then you gave them opportunities for practice. Also, what I noticed that is that the sense of urgency and the sense of confidence within the small group was very strong, because the students were able to kind of reach you whenever they had issues spelling a word. Okay. And you were immediately providing them the feedback and don't forget the tools, don't forget the C sound, don't forget the K sound. So with that little support, they were like, okay, I got it. So I think that was working in their advantage. So my feedback is, based on your management was great, your timing was on point, your objective was definitely covered there. When you work with students in small group, you're giving them all the support, right? Now talk to me about the times when they are working in a small group and you have more of a smaller group. How are they able to decode, let's say, a double-sided passage on their own?
We use a lot of classroom references based on anchor charts, or they support one each other when they're independently on their own. When I'm in a small group, I also provide them with extended the discussion of the story. So they kind of retell the story on their own and replay it based on what we just read. So it's more of a review. So they get the lesson with me and they just go independently and review.
Okay, so what I would suggest is, because you already have, again, your systematic way, is minimize or whatever anchor, because I see you have multiple anchor charts here for them to reference to. if you can like print them in a smaller flip chart. I've seen some like IKEA flip charts that you can have the little tables. They can use that as a reference. That way they don't have to rely on you when you're not there, or having to look out for help when they can actually do that on their own.
Okay.
So I'm gonna provide you with some templates that I found from my previous second grade teachers too. And that might be able to kind of minimize that reliancy on you, because now they're gonna have the tools that they need for the small, like those small situations where they're not able to decode the words. But like I said, the fact that you have them working with like spelling patterns and they act it up and they spell it out. You had dry erase markers available for each one of the students. This is a group that I know has struggled with a lot of like decoding lately, but at this point I can see like they have the skills, the fluency, the prosody was there. I can't remember his name, but he was sitting here. Aiden, like he was like, oh, I know that one. And you were like, what? You're Juliana, give her a chance. Like she needs to try it. And he was able to see like, okay, I'm gonna take it back. I know it. It's gonna be my chance later on. So they're all like they really want to participate on this. So just keep on doing that. That being said, with that small adjustment, just bring more like resources around you or around their individual time. You are really setting the tone for third grade ELAR. This is the biggest transition of the year, and whatever skills you're setting now, and that's what I'm saying, that independency, that's gonna be carried on to third grade. The amount of passages, you've seen it, you worked with third grade before, the amount of reading that they're gonna get on their own, it's very large. Plus, they're gonna start adding a lot more writing. So by you creating this, and I'm gonna print this for you too, I'm gonna give you an idea. So by you working on this spelling patterns and vocabulary, you're already helping the next grade teacher with this amount of questions. So in the past 4 or 5 years, this has been one of the questions they continuously get on the test. And when they don't know how to decode those words, of course they fail. But if you already are part of that development, this is gonna be so much easier for them to comprehend, to decode, to make sense of when they are working independently. So by that, you're definitely helping a lot more, but I want you to see the highest connection with your vocabulary objective, highly linked to 3.3b, which is gonna be tested in third grade. And then I also wanna send you this other form, which is kind of a more generic overview of how much they have like focus on vocabulary. So it's about 10 to 12 questions. When they have the tools to, be part of the reading process, look at the amount of questions they've had in the last 4 years. So by those little steps that you're taking, this is the process. This is how we tackle the words. Remember the rules. Just bringing those up, you're engraving those rules like no one else. And just by adding that anchor chart as a reference, you are setting them for success. So I want you to see that high connection. And then like you see, eventually they're gonna get into writing. And of course, they're gonna have to respond. That's something else that maybe we can start working after the assessments. But just by working highly on vocabulary and decoding and the comprehension, you're definitely setting the tone for the next school year. And for the assessment coming up in a few weeks. So any ideas, any questions that you want to, maybe you have something that I wasn't able to see it at the time?
I think the feedback's great. I think if I add what you recommended, will definitely improve because there'll be more for them to have easy access to the document or the resource to guide them and lead them as needed.
Okay, so again, I'm gonna send you a copy of the frequency distribution, and maybe later on when we plan for the for upcoming lessons, you can also see how in the upcoming grades we actually tackle each one of those objectives one at a time to make sure that we maximize exposure there. And like I said, I'm gonna give you a copy of the notes. So that being said, I will follow up with you. I will say in about a week. Is that a good day for you, please?
Yes.
Okay. So in a week, I will come here just quickly just to see if you are able to use the resources that I'm about to send you. If you feel like it's too much or you need to adjust it, just let me know. I can try to find something else. But I think based on what I saw in this small group and the group of kids that you were working with, I think that's a good starting point for you to start like working with. And then as you become more, like aware of like, this doesn't work for me, I'd rather do something else, we can always adjust it. But for now, we can transition into that.
Okay,
Okay?
sounds
Well,
good.
thank you so much. Let me email this to you right away. And I will see you then in about a week.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Mhm.